News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Time for the Wells Report front page, a digest of news that we have put together so you're informed as you start your day today. Former President Donald Trump is going to be arraigned in a Washington, D.C. courtroom today. He is scheduled to appear in federal court in Washington, D.C. this afternoon after being indicted on charges that stem from special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into 2020 election interference in the Capitol riot on January 6th, 2021. Trump is the GOP frontrunner. He faces 4 federal charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. The former president is expected to travel from Bedminster, New Jersey to Washington, D.C. today. He was ordered to appear in federal court for a 4 p.m. arraignment. This is the second federal indictment the former president faces out of Smith's investigation. President Trump has already pled not guilty to 37 counts related to his alleged improper retention of classified records from his presidency. Not everyone is looking at this case in what they say favorable terms. Legal experts indeed call Smith's case lousy. They're criticizing his latest indictment against Donald Trump for accusing the former president of spreading disinformation and other activities protected by the First Amendment. Jonathan Turley is a professor of public interest law at George Washington University. He said, quote, "The indictment charges Trump with spreading falsehoods, that he was undermining the integrity of the election. That's all part of the First Amendment. And I think the courts will look at that skeptically," unquote. Andy McCarthy is a former federal prosecutor and assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. He told Fox News, quote, "Smith brought a lousy case." He went on to say that I think all the counts have significant legal problems. That's even before you get to the complex problems of trying to prove Trump's intent. McCarthy also dismissed conspiracy against right charges that Smith brought against Trump. Smith is using a statute that was enacted right after the Civil War, which actually directed at violent intimidation by the Ku Klux Klan against black voters in the South, which has no connection to what we are talking about here. Also, the January 6th judge is being referred to as being fair to defendants. The federal judge assigned to oversee the election fraud case against former President Donald Trump is known for imposing stiff sentences on pro-Trump rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, 2021. U.S. District Judge Tanya S. Chutkan once described the, quote, the very real danger the January 6th riot posed to the foundation of our democracy. Chutkan has also ruled against Trump before, denying his 2021 motion to assert executive privilege in order to block the release of documents to the House Special January 6th Committee investigating the insurrection. Quote, "Presidents are not kings," she held, and the plaintiff is not president. Veteran federal court watchers describe Chutkan as a consummate professional who will handle a sensitive case with the utmost care. Given her background, some told USA Today Chutkan is likely to do what is within her power to protect former President Donald Trump's legal rights as a criminal defendant. There is new polling information regarding President Biden. The TIP poll says that if President Biden was bribed, a majority of Americans suggest he should leave the presidency. This from TIP Insights. If evidence of Biden family bribes continues to grow, Congress may be forced to act or face some very angry American voters in 2024. In TIP's online poll of 1,341 adults taken from July 5th through the 7th, with a margin of error of plus or minus 2.7 percentage points, the answer was Biden is not likely to weather the political storm. A strong majority of 63% in the poll suggests that President Biden should either be impeached, that's 33%, or resign immediately, 30%, if the charges prove true. Just 20% said Biden should stay in office and run again in 2024 if he wishes. Another 17% said they were not sure. Any presidential candidate in 2024 must have electoral support from independents to win. Independents break 64% for Biden's removal from office through impeachment or resignation. Another 15% say he should be able to run again. 21% say they are not sure. Out of weapons news, the Biden administration pistol brace regulations have been overturned. This from Fox News. The Biden administration's effort to regulate pistol braces was dealt a blow yesterday after a ruling by a federal appeals court case and doubts on its constitutionality. The Biden administration rule required gun owners to register pistol braces, which are accessories that can be attached to the rear of a gun to make it easier to aim and fire with one hand. The regulation, which went into effect June 1st, was one of several steps President Joe Biden first announced in 2021 after a man using a stabilizing brace killed 10 people at a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado. A stabilizing brace was also used in a shooting in Dayton, Ohio that left 9 people dead in 2019, and a school shooting that killed 6 in Nashville, Tennessee. Second Amendment proponents argue the braces make handguns safer and more accurate, but gun control advocates argue the braces could be used to lengthen a concealable handgun and thus making it more dangerous. Also, former President Barack Obama had a private meeting with President Biden this summer. And in that meeting, he warned him that former President Donald Trump is a more formidable candidate than many Democrats realize. After speaking with 2 people familiar with the meeting, Washington Post White House reporter Tyler Page, that's Tyler Pager, wrote about the private lunch Obama had with Biden in June, during which the former president told Biden not to underestimate Trump. According to those sources, Obama voiced concerns about Donald Trump's political strengths, including an intensely loyal following, a Trump-friendly conservative media ecosystem, and a polarized country, underlining his worry that Trump could be a more formidable candidate than many Democrats realize. As such, the 44th president promised to do all he could to get President Biden reelected. Pager added it was a welcome gesture for the White House at a time when Biden is eager to lock down promises of help from top Democrats. Out of state news this morning in Pennsylvania, a Pittsburgh killer is going to receive the death sentence, according to reports. This from USA Today. The man who gunned down 11 worshipers at the Pittsburgh Tree of Life Synagogue in 2018, the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history, will be sentenced to death. Robert Bowers, 50 years of age, was found guilty on 63 criminal counts in June, including 11 counts each of obstruction of free exercise of religion, resulting in death, and hate crimes, resulting in death. A judge will formally impose the sentence later after a federal jury made the death sentence recommendation yesterday. Bowers was found eligible for the death penalty July 13th when jurors decided he intended to kill. Substantial planning went into the attack, and he targeted the vulnerable. It is the first federal death sentence to be imposed during President Biden's administration. Also from Louisiana, there's a new law that requires "In God We Trust" signs in schools. This from The Hill. A new law in Louisiana went into effect Tuesday, requiring public schools in the state to display the nation's official motto, "In God We Trust," in every classroom. The law, titled HB 8, requires the national motto to be displayed, quote, on a poster or framed document that is at least 11 inches by 14 inches in each classroom. The law states the motto must be the central focus of the poster or framed document and be printed in large, easily readable font. Signed by Democrat Governor John Bel Edwards in June, the law goes slightly further than its previous version passed in 2018, which only required the motto to be in school buildings, not in each classroom. Public schools will not be required to use funds to purchase these displays and can use donated funds or accept donated displays according to the law. The law follows a series of decisions from other southern states to require the motto be displayed, including in Florida, South Carolina, and Arkansas. As we move through the front page this morning, we head to space. The Webb telescope has found a galaxy with nearly no metal in it. New images from the James Webb Space Telescope captured the irregular galaxy NGC 6822, showing it has unusually low metallicity. That's a new word. NASA said this means the galactic neighbor doesn't have many elements heavier than hydrogen and helium. Quote, before the first generations of stars, everything had very low metallicity. Stars had not yet created heavier elements. Studying contemporary objects with low metallicity, like this galaxy, can help understand more about stars and dust in the early universe. A Navy flag officer is saying that people should be paying more attention to UAPs, or UFOs, as your particular parlance suggests. Last week, the House Oversight and Accountability Committee's Subcommittee on National Security, the Border and Foreign Affairs, on identified anomalous phenomena, also known as UFOs. He testified there. Actually, he witnessed the testimony of 3 witnesses providing extraordinary testimony on their observations of aerial craft with performance characteristics far beyond those of modern earthly aircraft, as well as knowledge of a hidden U.S. government crash retrieval program of such vehicles and their non-human operators, as well as knowledge of a hidden U.S., as other U.S. hidden facts in this particular case. Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, he's the CEO of Ocean STL Consulting, LLC, asked, how has our society responded? Well, the internet shrugged. He continued, perhaps the era of fake news has desensitized the public to the remarkable revelations in this particular testimony. The Admiral suggested that the U.S. Congress should continue to demand that the Department of Defense and intelligence community disclose UAP information, data, and materials to the public. U.S. military news: that extremism stand down has shown no results. More than 2 years ago, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin launched a sweeping initiative triggered by the January 6th insurrection to root out the threat of extremism across the United States Armed Forces. The Department of Defense takes extremist activity seriously, continues to make progress towards implementing the actions approved by the Secretary in December of 2021. This from Commander Nicole Schwegman, a Defense Department spokesperson, in a written response. The vast majority of service members serve with honor and integrity and do not participate in extremist activities, said Schwegman. But today, the military has almost nothing to show for its efforts, according to USA Today. Most steps in the process are stalled or inactive, and reforms experts said they were the most important things that, in that particular order, have yet to happen. If this sweeping effort ends with no measurable impact, that's a tragic outcome, said Kathleen Ballou, a Northwestern University historian. Secretary Austin's January 6th initiative was an incredibly powerful lever for real change, she said, and to simply let it fall apart because there are lots of other things to do would be a tragic misstep. That is the front page for this particular day, which is August 3rd. It's a Thursday. I'm John David Wells. Thanks very much for joining us.